the dense woods of Willowbrook, there was an urban legend that had been passed down from generation to generation, the legend of Goatman. As a curious teenager, I had heard the chilling tales of a half-human, half-goat creature that roamed the forests at night, seeking those who dared to venture into its territory. But like any other teenager, I dismissed it as mere campfire stories and decided to explore the woods with my friends one fateful night. The moon hung high in the inky sky, casting an eerie glow on the towering trees as we ventured deeper into the heart of Willowbrook Forest. The distant hum of cicadas and the rustling of leaves beneath our feet were the only sounds that accompanied us. I felt a thrill of excitement, mixed with fear as the legends of Goatman echoed in my mind. What if he's real? I thought to myself, trying to shake off the growing unease. As we pressed on, the woods seemed to close in around us, and I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Every crack of a branch or distant hoot of an owl sent shivers down my spine. My friends seemed oblivious to my growing anxiety, laughing and joking as we continued on our reckless adventure. The air grew colder, and a faint smell of dampness filled our noses. I glanced around nervously, suddenly feeling like an intruder in this ancient forest. It was then that I noticed a peculiar set of footprints in the muddy ground, hooves mixed with human-like footprints. My heart skipped a beat, and I pointed them out to my friends, half expecting them to dismiss it as a prank. But their laughter died down as they realized the seriousness of the situation. "Let's get out of here," one of them suggested, and we turned to retrace our steps. Panic swelled in my chest as we hurried back, the woods now more menacing than enchanting. With every step, the woods seemed to change, rearranging themselves like a labyrinth trying to keep us trapped. I could hear the branches whispering in a haunting melody, calling us deeper into their embrace. Sweat trickled down my forehead, and my breaths became shallow as I fought to keep my composure. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream pierced through the air, making my heart leap into my throat. My friend Tom was gone. The only trace of him was a torn piece of his shirt snagged on a thorny bush. We called out his name, but all that answered was an eerie silence. Fear consumed us, and we decided to stick together and find a way out. But the woods seemed to have a life of their own, as if they wanted to keep us trapped like insects in a web. Panic and paranoia crept in, and we became increasingly disoriented, unsure if we were moving in circles or making progress. Time blurred, and the darkness deepened. Each step felt heavier than the last, and I could feel the malevolent presence of Goatman lurking somewhere in the shadows. Our flashlights flickered, casting strange shadows on the trees that seemed to dance in mockery. I heard a faint chanting in the distance, a haunting melody that echoed through the woods. My friends heard it too, and we instinctively followed the eerie sound. It led us to a clearing, where a bonfire burned with an otherworldly light. Figures dressed in ragged clothes danced around the flames, their faces obscured by shadows. As we watched in horror, a figure emerged from the darkness, a monstrous hybrid of man and goat. Its eyes glowed with an unnatural fire as it fixed its gaze on us. My heart pounded in my chest as I realized that the legends were true. Goatman was real. Paralyzed with fear, I could only watch as the creature approached us, its hooves leaving deep imprints in the soft earth. I felt the weight of centuries of malevolence in its presence, and it seemed to feed off our terror. In that moment, instinct kicked in, and we ran for our lives. Branches clawed at us, and roots threatened to trip us at every turn. The chanting grew louder, and I could feel the pursuit of Goatman hot on our heels. We ran until our lungs burned and our legs gave out, collapsing at the edge of the forest. The moment we crossed out of the woods, the chanting ceased, and the bonfire's light vanished into the darkness. My friends and I never spoke of that night again, but the terror of encountering Goatman haunts my dreams to this day. Willowbrook Forest stands as a stark reminder of the darkness that lurks in the world, unseen by most but waiting to ensnare the unwary. And I pray that no one else falls victim to the malevolent presence of the Goatman in those dark woods.
Thanks for watching Twisted Horror Chronicles. If you enjoyed the scares, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell to stay tuned for more terrifying stories. Have a spooky encounter of your own? Submit your stories and you might just see them featured on our next episode. Happy haunting!